was born in the year 280 in Turkey. And about 200 years before that, in the place where I came from, the Apostle Paul had traveled there. So you can read about that in the Acts of the Apostles.
What were your parents like?
My parents were wealthy Christians. I got a good education, including religious training. And we feasted every Wednesday and Friday. So I don't know why they always had pictures of me as being a chubby guy. When you feast 2 days a week, you don't get chubby. Unfortunately, my parents died when I was 16. I was raised by my uncle, who was a monastery abbot.
Growing up without parents must have been hard.
Well, it was sad, but as an only child, I inherited all my family's wealth. It was nice to have money, but a lot of responsibility. Scripture guided me as to how to handle it.
I think I know the story you're talking about. When Jesus tells the rich man to sell everything he has and give it to the poor.
And Jesus also says, "Come follow me." I started giving away my family wealth to the needy. And this started me down the road to the priesthood.
Did you stay in the same city where you were born?
No, I moved to a town called Myra. And it was an interesting thing there. The bishop of Myra had died. And the others in the church couldn't decide on how to pick a replacement. So the head bishop had a vision. He said, "The first person to enter the church tomorrow morning will be the man that God has chosen."
Let me guess. You walked in.
I came in early in the morning to pray, and I became the bishop of Myra. You like my hat? It goes with the job.
Wow, bishop, must have been a cushy job.
Well, at that time, it was kind of a rough time for Christians because the Roman emperor didn't like Christians. You've all seen the movie where they're throwing the Christians to the lions. It was that time of history.
How did the church survive with all that killing?
Well, Rome chose a new emperor named Constantine, and he made Christianity the official religion of the Roman Empire.
Sounds like you finally reached Easy Street.
Well, then we got into a disagreement about what it means to be a real Christian. And finally, Constantine said, all of you bishops are going to go to the town of Nicaea, this was in the year 325, to reach an agreement about it. The big issue was Jesus just a man, or was he also divine? And the bishops finally agreed that he was divine.
When we read that Nicene Creed during the service, we'll have to remember St. Nicholas had something to do with getting that written down.
I suppose that's true, but enough of boring history.
Sorry, I'm a history geek.
History is important, and legends are fun. But you can't always remember which ones are true and which are just legends.
Why don't you share some of the more popular ones?
Well, you remember I was left a lot of money.
Yeah, you gave it away like Jesus told the rich man to do it.
That's right. Jesus said, "Give to the poor in secret." There was a man who had lost all his money, and he had nothing for his 3 daughters as a dowry to help them get married. And in that day and age, that was a very bad thing for a young lady, because with no dowry and no prospects of marriage, she could be sold into slavery. So one night I threw 3 bags of gold through the window of the house. And the next morning the father found it and said, "It's a miracle. You'll see many paintings showing me holding 3 bags of balls of gold." Because of this, I became the patron saint of brides and women who wanted to marry.
You know, I've seen those 3 balls somewhere else. Aren't you the patron saint of pawnbrokers?
That's right. The father who had lost his money might have had to go to a pawnbroker. So ever since then, pawnbrokers put 3 gold balls on their sign.
Aren't you the patron saint of other kinds of people as well?
Yes, there was an innkeeper who was a cruel man who had killed 3 boys and put their bodies in a pickling barrel. Some people said he was going to feed them to his customers. I prayed and the boys were raised back to life. And because of this, I've become the patron saint of children and of barrel makers.
Isn't there some connection to sailors too?
Yes, there was a Greek ship caught in a storm. The sailors prayed to be saved, and a strange man took the helm and guided the ship into Myra. The sailors went to church the next day to give thanks for being saved, and they said they had seen me and I had been that helmsman. So because of that, Greeks pray to St. Nicholas for safe voyages.
I know there were so many old stories. We could go on and on, but how do we celebrate you today?
Well, I died on December the 6th in the year 343. Myra has had a festival on December 6th ever since. And children receive money and special foods. And food and clothing are also given to the needy on that day.
I can see the spirit of St. Nicholas lives on in our modern Santa Claus.
That's true, but enough about me. There would be no St. Nicholas without Jesus, God's greatest gift to the world. All St. Nicholas and Santa Claus stories begin and end in Bethlehem, with the birth of a child in a humble stable.
Thank you for pointing us in the correct direction.